Hey there, I'm back today to talk about such a great series of books, and that's the Scaredy Squirrel series by Melanie Watt. I am sure that you have heard of these books and probably read them. There are so many of them now. This is the very first one, the original in the series. And this book is so great for teaching kids about growth mindset and flexibility, right? So when we get stuck in our routine, like Scaredy Squirrel was, and he never left his tree because he was afraid of the unknown and afraid of what was out there. When we do that, we don't realize that we're missing out on so many great things, right? And so something happens in this book that forces Scaredy Squirrel to jump from his tree, and he discovers some things about himself. And that's what we want for our kids, right? We want them to be brave. We want them to take risks, be flexible in their thinking, in their actions. And this is a great book to kind of use, to dive into some of those topics with kids. What are some things that we can do to be more brave? How can we be more flexible with things that are unfamiliar to us? What's one small step that we can take or one goal that we can set? So again, just like with so many picture books that I've talked about, there's so much packed into this one short book that you can really, go crazy with all the different SEL topics that are embedded in those. And just talking about character traits and really making those connections with kids to their own personal lives. So hopefully you can see the value in this book and you'll check it out, especially with those kiddos that maybe are more inflexible and have trouble taking risks. Helping them to see what's the worst that can happen. That's one strategy that I teach in my SEL training. So when we're talking about, being brave or taking risks, making a list of, if we do this thing that we're afraid of, what's the worst that can happen? What could go wrong? And sometimes it just makes us feel better to have that list and realize, oh, well, all of these things that I listed aren't that terrible. Sure, maybe they're uncomfortable and maybe it's unfamiliar territory, but I'll survive, right? I'll make it to the other side, and these things aren't that bad. So that's one thing that you could do as an activity, a follow-up activity with this book. So what is something that you are afraid of trying? Asking kids that, and then make a list of all the things that could happen if you tried it, and both good and bad. So maybe by trying this new thing, you would make new friends or have a wider sense of community, or you would have a higher self-confidence. So give this book a try, give that activity a try. I'd love to hear how it goes. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.